So let me quote George Bernard Shaw: "Progress is impossible without change, and those who cannot change their minds cannot change anything." Well, the quote has much more deeper implications than what we can read on the surface. To accept the change and to lead the change are the two significant sides of the same coin. To delve more deeper into the topic, let me now invite our first speaker, Mr. VP Joy, Senior Executive Vice President at Reliance Industry Limited, with a vast experience and expertise in the field of education. Today, Mr. VP Joy will address us on the topic, Learning from Corporate Best Practices, Reimagining School Leadership. I request the AV team to play the introduction of Mr. VP Joy.
Mr. VP Joy, Senior EVP, Reliance Industries Limited, transitioned from banking to education 30 years ago because of his passion towards education. Support for Geo Institute and Reliance Foundation. Mr. VP Joy brings a wealth of expertise in various domains: banking, finance and accounts, branding and marketing, human resource and leadership recruitment, technology integration. He has 4 decades of experience in leading institutions, encompassing school education, higher education, and banking. He firmly believes in commitment to excellence, self-driven and self-directed professionals. Mr. VP Joy's extensive experience, versatile expertise, and commitment to excellence make him a valuable leader in the realms of education, banking, and strategic management.
Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and invite Mr. VP Joy to address the conference.
Respected Sri Sanjay Kumar, Education Secretary, Srimati Nidhi Chibar, Chairperson CBSE, distinguished guests, esteemed educators, school leaders, and ladies and gentlemen. A very good afternoon to all of you. And thank you for that very kind introduction. In most of these introductions, we only hear the nice things, as you have just heard. They haven't told you about the struggles and my failures. They haven't told you that after my class 10, I haven't had the opportunity to pursue any formal education through a college or a university on a full-time basis. Way back in 1976, 47 years ago, I completed my class 10 from a school in a rural place, state board curriculum, vernacular medium instruction. So, I don't know whether they got a wrong speaker here. I'm really, really honored, grateful to the organizers for inviting me to my thoughts to this erudite audience. And I'm also really grateful to my mentors, my teachers, of course to my parents for giving me some learning and some wisdom. I'm thankful to my colleagues who helped me put together this speech. It is a collaborative work, not a solo effort. My congratulations to CBSE and the Sahodaya schools complexes for all their great effort and accomplishments. Based on my experience, both in the corporate sector and education sector, I have seen how social sector institutions, be it a school, a university, or a hospital, or a sports development center, or even an art and culture institution, can be created and operated with a corporate sector efficiency and ethos. All of us know that managing an education institution is an exemplary pursuit, a worthy pursuit of shaping the future generation. As you know, it comes with unique challenges and opportunities, especially in the context of the paradigm shifts in the education sector, emerging technologies, and of course, the launch of the path-breaking NEP 2020. teaching and learning is no longer what it used to be. Therefore, it is imperative that we reimagine our schools and revisit our approaches to school leadership. And there is certainly a sense of urgency. And I'm sure this today conference with an excellent lineup of accomplished speakers is going to enlighten us with their wisdom and knowledge. Let me now share some of my thoughts and perspectives on the topic, learning from the corporate best practices, reimagining school leadership. As said by Ivan Robb, if business doesn't change, business can go out of business. While we cannot make a perfect comparison between business and education, what drives us and what drowns us, business, can provide critical insights for the K-12 schools. If schools don't measure up to the changing needs of society and the demands of the future workforce, they too will become irrelevant. In other words, the time has come to embrace change wholeheartedly and in informed ways. In that sense, it is a choiceless world. Therefore, we have to prepare our schools to not only win the battle of existence, but also thrive and flourish as centers of excellence. The goalpost has changed, and therefore, the game too needs to change. Today, leading a school is not much different from leading a corporate enterprise. Let me show some excerpts from the literature of the Rice University. Rice University is offering a program called Education Entrepreneurship Program. Today, leaders need to master finance, operations, curriculum, discipline. They need to be data-driven decision makers. They need to be visionaries and passionate about what they do. And most importantly, they must be great educators and effective business leaders. This Rice University's program equips school leaders to tackle new challenges in new ways and focus on 5 core competencies: leading change, leading people, building coalitions, building the business, and driving results. This program revolves around the concept of school principal as a CEO who deploys capital, human capital and financial capital to meet the needs of the community. It explicitly makes connections from business concepts and knowledge to the educational context. All this confirms a CEO mindset is a must for all school leaders. Dear fellow educators, for about 3 decades, I don't know whether you got confused with my introduction, I have tried to apply some of the corporate best practices in the education institutions context. The corporate sector accords so much importance on governance by creating multiple structures and decision-making processes for operational excellence. You would have heard about the ESG framework, environmental, social, and government, ESG framework. It evaluates a company's sustainability and ethical impact. I believe tomorrow the same ESG, which is today applicable to the corporate, will come to our schools as for the school governance. See, the corporates are well known for making decisions and making it faster. They invest a lot of resources and energy to standardize and streamline their operations, to do innovations, to do research, to motivate their employees, to reward their shareholders. They do their best to make their products and services more and more customer-centric. They do a lot of things. So So there are hundreds of best practices. If you very closely look at any business enterprise, small or big. But today in this talk, I would like to focus on two corporate best practices, which are there in a way in our school system, and that is systems and processes and mindset. System-centric culture may sound very complex. It is not at all complex. We are just referring to a culture of an organization having policies, systems, and processes, and in building and managing institutions. For the sake of ease, I will just refer to this as systems and processes, or even S and P. I was not born as a systems and process expert or consultant. 20 years ago, this term was largely a mystery to me. I got flabbergasted when I joined Reliance. People asked me about the ownership mindset. They asked about the systems and process. I got confused. And now if you ask me, what has been my foremost learning in Reliance, I have no hesitation to say it is systems and processes. If you ask me, what is your second most learning from Reliance? Again, my answer will be systems and processes. I believe the systems and processes culture embedded in Reliance is one of the key drivers of its success. I didn't do any course in systems and processes. There is a saying in Malayalam. Now I'll come to mother tongue, because NEP is promoting mother tongue, so I can take the liberty of using my mother tongue. Mulla Pombudi Yetukidakam Kalinamandoru Saurabhyam. I will repeat. Mulla Pombudi Yetukidakam Kalinamandoru Saurabhyam. I am sure some of you in the audience knows Malayalam. And for the rest of you, it means the stone that treads on jasmine smells of jasmine. I repeat, the stone that treads on jasmine smells of jasmine. So the key words are jasmine and stone. Stone is tough. Stone will not accept anything. But jasmine, the jasmine flavor, it will reach even stone also. You just stand, you don't have to do anything. That's what I got. I just stood there in Reliance. I didn't know anything about systems and process, but I got a good flavor because it is in the DNA of Reliance. I've seen all these 22 players in Reliance. Again, initially it was very, very boring to me. But over the years, I became a convert. And I am now a evangelist of systems and processes. Some of my colleagues are in the audience. Some of my batchmates are in the audience. They know what I mean, what I'm talking about. So I am an evangelist. Now, I'm not just an evangelist, I'm a practitioner. I'm still very much a passionate learner of various dimensions and nuances of systems and processes. This quote from American philosopher William James: the greatest use of life is to spend it on something that will outlast it. The key word is outlast. This quote amplifies the critical need to build and operate institutions that will outlive us. Of course, they have to first survive and thrive during our own lifetime. That's the first priority. So with the phenomenal increase in the number of schools and school systems in our country, with the opening of so many international schools in the last maybe 2 decades or so, we are seeing an increasing trend among our schools to adopt a system-centric culture. When you go to McDonald's or Starbucks or any other food or a coffee chain or in a bank that has a global footprint or a national pan-India operations, we may not know how many systems and processes are running those places. Look at CBSE. 30,000 schools affiliated to CBSE. And one can imagine the Herculean task of running such a mammoth ecosystem. Now, McDonald's, Starbucks, CBSE, all operate on a hub and spokes system and run on multitudes of processes, many invisible to us. It's not visible to us. So it is really a backbone. It's really a backbone. I cannot stand on here without a backbone. We cannot live without a backbone. So it is so crucial that we need to create the backbone. You can embellish it, you can bring a lot of other things, but the backbone is backbone. This is also very helpful when you set up a project. I have set up schools. I have set up universities. I have been operating universities, schools in multiple roles. So systems and processes are omnipresent. Systems and processes are omnipotent. I repeat. S&P are omnipresent and omnipotent. They exist everywhere. In our homes, in our schools, businesses, farms, hospitals, armed forces, government. How the government functions with such a big bureaucracy. And don't be surprised when you go to hell, when you go to heaven. Of course, all of us will go to heaven. There will be systems and processes. So many systems and processes. So be aware of that. Okay? So it is better that you also become an evangelist right away. If you look at our homes, we see a number of systems and processes. For example, generations after generations, we have seen how our grandmothers have passed on the family's traditional favorite recipes to their daughters, daughter-in-laws, or granddaughters, and even to the male member of the family who has some keen interest in food and cuisine. The passing down of these recipes can either be preserved through oral tradition or demonstration by someone who knows it. Or it can be systematically captured by documenting or digitally recording it. As a result, the unique expertise of our grandmothers can be available for posterity and also for a larger audience. Another example is the process that we follow at the time of childbirth, weddings, and even funerals. Don't get scared. Cutting across all the religions, you look at the systems and processes on childbirth, weddings, and funerals. And fresh in our memory are the innumerable processes that we all willingly or unwillingly followed during COVID. I don't have to get into that. However cumbersome and boring the systems and process may be, we all follow them to the T when it comes to life and death situations. So, get on to the systems and process bandwagon. What we see from all these examples, these are simple examples closer to our life, is nothing but an approach to being organized, being methodical, being disciplined, being patient, and there is no rocket science. Being organized may sound very simplistic, but this is one of the most difficult things in life for many of us. People who are not organized tend to waste a lot of time, energy, and money. They will also ensure that all those who associated with them are also equally unproductive. They even lose promotions, though they are geniuses. I know several such cases, and I am one of them. Systems and processes live in the form of SOPs, policy documents, job descriptions, templates, formats, lesson plans, samples, dashboards, checklists, task lists, flowcharts, infographics, minutes of meeting, meeting notes, circulars, guidelines, calendars. The list is endless. I'm a strong believer in checklists. One of the many systems and processes. Maybe it may come across a poor cousin of the systems and processes, but I'm a die-hard practitioner of checklist. It has saved my life. Checklists have saved my life on many occasions. You can try it if you haven't. Of course, I do checklists on an industrial scale. At the time of physical reopening of the school after COVID, all our schools worked together, put together a lot of SOPs. And we prepared 800 plus checklists covering end-to-end safety measures. It was a collaborative project involving all our schools. And we are keen to know the schools, any other schools that have done similar project of preparing checklists during this physical reopening. By the way, one of my colleagues got so excited with this checklist. She meticulously prepared one and used it to efficiently and cost-effectively manage her son's wedding. She also enthusiastically spoke about it to the guests during the wedding reception. She is right here. My belief in checklists was reinforced when I read the checklist manifesto, How to Get Things Right by Atul Gawande. This is a summarized version of the preface from Atul Gawande's The Checklist Manifesto. It is very dense. It is very probably difficult to understand, very profound. But the essence is that whatever technology, advancement, science will progress, still there will be ignorance in the universe. AI will come, everything can come, but there will be ignorance. That's fine. What he's saying, failures of ignorance we can forgive. That is beyond us. Only God can help us in that one. But there is something called lot of knowledge we have, but we don't apply that knowledge, and that is referred to as inaptitude. We have knowledge, but we don't apply. We take it easy. So that cannot be forgiven. Inaptitude cannot be forgiven. So what this author is saying, there is a strategy to overcome that, and that strategy is checklist. That strategy is checklist. He is saying, it may almost seem ridiculous in its simplicity. Maybe even crazy to those of us who have been spent years for carefully developing ever more advanced skills. And checklist is, this rationale for the checklist by the author is actually the rationale for all the systems and processes in this universe. By the way, our aeroplane pilots, they heavily depend on checklists. Our medical doctors in the operation theaters, they heavily depend on checklists. And they have saved many lives in the air, and they have saved many lives on the ground. Systems and processes, I will just maybe summarize some of the multiple benefits. Kapil? Okay, I will go on. It can demystify operations. It can make us agile and adaptable, resilient. It can help in knowledge transfer. It can help us in decision making. It can make us time and cost optimization. We can run institutions on an autopilot mode. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. We can have a lot of checks and balances. We can embed core institutional values, and we can build, ultimately, more importantly, timeless institutions. So it has so many benefits. We are mostly so obsessed with our own capabilities, or maybe our designations or positions and all, and consider ourselves indispensable. And we can end up thinking, after me, deluge. Everything will collapse after me. I have left 2 organizations. They would have, in my profile they mentioned, I have left 2 organizations in my career so far, and nothing came shaking down. We may be important, yes. We are important, but not indispensable. These days, I mean, our Sanjay Kumar ji and all of them have been talking about AI. Everyone is so obsessed with the artificial intelligence. And rightly so. But hardly anyone talks about PI, process intelligence. Nobody is talking about process intelligence. Process intelligence is nothing but systematically collecting data and analyzing the individual steps within a business process. If you dive deep into the multitudes of processes that we have in our own schools, you will find there are so many processes. We can mind a lot of process intelligence in ourselves. And of course, S&P is a work in progress for any institution. I know, even for Reliance or for our schools, it's a work in progress. Of course, it is easy to evangelize about systems and processes, but executing them is not. It is extremely boring, extremely difficult. And it happens because of lack of understanding, lack of systems thinking, lack of strategic thinking, legacy issues, inertia, resistance to change, lack of resources, lack of training, absence of documentation culture, and of course, very importantly, the mindset. Now let me get on to the mindset business. That is one of the most intangible things in the universe. There is a growth mindset, fixed mindset, ownership mindset, entrepreneurial mindset, CEO mindset, digital mindset, system thinking mindset, process mindset, innovation mindset, and so on. I'm sure some of you would have read this book. It's a game changer. It says, fixed mindset makes people into non-learners. We are all educators. Fixed mindset makes people into non-learners, and a growth mindset makes people learners. This quote by Benjamin Barber: I don't divide the world into the weak and the strong, or the success and the failures. I divide the world into the learners and non-learners. So if you want to be a learner, have growth minds. If you want to be a non-learner, just adopt a fixed mindset. See, everyone is born with the intense drive to learn. Infants stretch their skills daily. They don't worry about making mistakes or humiliating themselves. They walk, they fall, they get up, they just barge ahead. But as soon as children become aware of themselves, they become more conscious. They don't want to fail. They get into a fixed mindset mode. So there are so many things about the mindset. There is a digital mindset. You can see that slide about the digital mindset. There's a digital mindset. There is an ownership mindset. There's a world-class mindset. And but very, very importantly, whether systems and process or mindset, whatever what is very, very important is the open-mindedness and humility. In the book by Power of Humility by P.V. Ramanamurthy, he says there is a strong relation between corporate leadership and humility. Leadership is a team sport. Humility is the heartbeat, a fundamental principle of nearly every religion across the world. So, just to conclude, we can have a progressive mindset, great systems and processes. We can keep on evangelizing about all these, but execution is the key. We need to have a warrior mindset. For NEP execution, we need to have that execution capability, that spirit. We need to go beyond PPTs and grand statements. We need to walk the extra mile and go to the last mile. Just do it. Whether you are wearing Nike shoe or not, just do it. So let us collaborate with the colleges as schools. Let us collaborate with the colleges, universities, connect the corporate sector. And by doing all those things, just keep things simple. As they say, when you simplify, you amplify. For all this, we need leaders who are visionaries, karma yogis, and very importantly, leaders with a CEO mindset. We will all retire one day. But the systems and processes that we have put in, and the mindset that we have nurtured, will never retire. In a recent talk to business school students on the theme India in 2047, my advice to them was, don't worry about India in 2047. Instead, focus on equipping themselves with the right skills and values. So my appeal to all of you is have a blend of an educator mindset and a CEO mindset. Let us be institution builders. Let us create timeless institutions. And let us take our aspirations, our dreams to the new levels. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to share my thoughts with all of you. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, sir, for sharing your valuable insight on the topic, learning from corporate best practices and reimagining school leadership. Well, now I invite Mrs. Nandita Khanna, Joint Secretary, Mumbai, Sahodaya, to felicitate Mr. VP Joy. So, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together. Thank you so much, sir.
Ms. Vaishali and Mr. Pradeep Dange, if you are anywhere in the audience, you are requested to report to Lake View Cafe. Please meet Mr. Rajiv Garg at the Lake View Cafe, Ms. Vaishali and Mr. Pradeep Dange from the Education Department. Thank you.
Well, now we move on to the second speaker of the day. So let me introduce to you our second speaker of the day, Dr. Tushar Guha, an eminent psychologist, educationist, and a corporate trainer. Today, Mr. Tushar Guha will address us on the topic, Leadership Transition in Changing Landscape. I request the AV team to play the introduction of Dr. Tushar Guha.
Dr. Tushar Guha, founder, chairperson, Nrityanjali Group, a psychologist, performing artist, corporate mentor and educationist. He is holding English literature and master's degree in economics. Made history in 2000 as world's first doctorate in personality development from the United States. Several awards like Rajiv Gandhi Avantika Lifetime Achievement Award received for outstanding contributions in the field of education and social service. Author of numerous books on personality development like People Management, an alumni of Film and Television Institution of India, and Charushila Production created a 90 minutes documentary, Nirjhar, on the life and work of Dr. Tushar Guha. Dr. Tushar Guha's wonderful journey encompasses groundbreaking contributions in psychology, education, and the performing arts, leaving an indelible legacy that continues to impact lives across the globe.
Hello. Yep. Namaskar and good afternoon. My pranam to all the dignitaries and the educationists here. My subtopic is Lead the Change. Naturally, since the conference is on reimagining and it's got to connect with NEP 2020. So just what are the highlights of NEP 2020. I think there are about 8, but naturally I will not go into all those. I've made it into bold, is integrated, enjoyable, and engaging, and teacher empowerment. I will actually be stressing on this too. When I was going through this enjoying and engaging, you know, I remembered my days when I was younger, that is, most of you are very, very young, so you will not know this, but those are very senior educationists because I've spent more than 50 years in education. Somewhere from 1993, the government of India with the World Bank had a district primary education project. I was lucky enough to be the expert faculty for it for all of India from north, south, east, west, traveling all over, grooming the principals and the teachers, how to make teaching enjoyable. Because normally, you know, I believe there are two kinds of faces. One is a constipated face, another is a loose motion face. Dr. Guha has a loose motion face. And I believe every person should have, because loose motion face is a positivity. And after COVID, we all realized that how important it is to be positive. Those who were negative, they all got COVID. People like me who were always positive, I never got COVID. And I really believe that, you have to have a positive thinking. And even at this age, I'm so positive, I still feel, okay, death will come one day, but after that, I will become a ghost. I will always have work to do. And most of us, we are dead, we are finished. Life has to be, so therefore, the onus falls on us, on the teachers, to be joyful. There is something called transaction and analysis. I do not know how many of you know that. It says the sender must understand the capacity of the receiver to receive and interact accordingly. So when I understand my students, their background, economic, social, all that, and then I transfer the knowledge. But when I transfer the knowledge, there should be vibrancy in me. अगर मैं मरे हुए जैसे पढ़ा रहा हूँ, वो तो मरा हुआ जैसे सीखेगा ना. So the Josh has to be there. Now all the Joshes are in Hindi films only. They need to come in the classroom. But no, we think, we are academicians. And I remember when I was younger and I was doing my PhD and I am a dancer and a singer and an actor. So naturally, आप देख ही रहे हो कि how much हाथ पाथ हिलता हिलता है हमारा. So people would never take me seriously. And I had a lot of hair, so I was looking very good looking at that age. And people would think, ये फालतू आदमी है, इतना हिलता फिलता है. My point was, I'm passing on the message. And why is it? Why do you have a mindset that if you're an academician, you have to be gambhir? Why is it that if I'm a corporate head, I have to be always serious and stern? Who says a leader cannot be happy? Who says a leader cannot be joyous? Who says a leader cannot be, spirited? It is up to the leader to draw the line. Thus far and no further. I will be friendly but not a friend. That's important. And when this joyful learning happened, and I kept on, and I was lucky enough, I had a lot of government of India had asked me in those days, I'm talking about 80s and 90s, to conduct workshop for IAS officers in Mussoorie. And I remember after 3 days of workshop, I like to demonstrate that. So we did physical exercises, okay? Like this, and then jump, and then swing, and smile, and eyes. So I said, can we club them all? They said, all right. I said, one after the other. I said, hands, 1, 2, 3, jump, 1, 2, 3, 4, swing. 1, 2, 3, 4, smile. 1, 2, 3, 4, eyes. And the moment I said, wonderful dancing, they all stopped. We are future bureaucrats. How the hell can we dance? What are you talking about? I said, but you danced. Don't have a fixed mindset. Be open, and that's education. Unless and until we are open, we cannot be educated. So therefore, joyful learning is not for pre-primary. But it was put for pre-primary. And then 2003, that project ended. Sarva Shikshan came in. Okay, I happened to be ever again in Sarva Shikshan. But we continued. But unfortunately, and I tried this out since 1980. Luckily for me, 1993, the then Secretary of Education, Mrs. Kumud Bansal, who was also the later Secretary of Education, Government of India, she stood by me and helped and introduced personality development as a compulsory subject in Maharashtra for 9th and 10th. The book was written by me. And all life skills came in. In fact, I'm one of the pioneers of the life skill because I insisted that it should be a part of. We are all talking about all-round grooming. What happens if I've only become a pandit of mathematics or physics or chemistry or history, geography? I can't transfer it. I am a guest faculty to IIT and to all the management institute for the professors, not for the students. Because I tell the professors, what's the use of having so much buddhi? Mere paas itna buddhi nahi hai. I was a 43% student in SSC. But then, I was an honors in English literature. I stood second class first in MA in economics. And then I'm a doctorate in psychology and personality development. The 43% could do this. So everybody can do it. I said, if Tushar Guha can do this, every Tom, Dick and Harry can do it. But who is responsible, My parents and my teacher. They motivated me to do things what I have to do. Now, as a teacher, have I been able to motivate even a single student? And let us look at all of us. What is our greatest reward? When you are walking on the street, a student comes, "Sir, I was your student." I think tears should roll down our cheeks. That's the greatest joy that we have had. That means the student remembered me. That means I have contributed. But that contribution cannot happen till you have given it with happiness. With a grumpy face, sorry to say, no learning can ever happen. It never happened to me. I was frightened of maths because when I was in 6th standard, in those days, this caning used to happen. My teacher would say, "How much is 2 and 2? 2 plus 2. I would get nervous and put the finger here and say 8. So one caning. And I was laddu in maths. And you know, when I got married, my wife was also laddu in maths. So I was very worried what is going to happen to my daughter. She turned out to be very good in maths. But then she was also frightened of maths. So she went into arts and became a double doctorate and all in arts. I was worried that what happens when she gets married. Luckily, when she got married, my son-in-law was very, very smart in maths. Others, it would have happened 3 generations of Dumbo in maths. The responsible would be both the teachers on either side. This is what happens when we teach with a grumpy face. So very importantly, I know some of you had lunch, some of you did not have lunch. Start smiling. In fact, I will call down my colleagues to speak on, to participate and share certain things. So that's what is talking about enjoyment and engaging. And teacher empowerment is very important. Why am I not talking about the other things? Because we are all bothering about, inclusion, we are bothering about early childhood. I am very, very involved in it because pre-primary means it had to be with early childhood. All these are fine. So let's go ahead. My topic, as I said, is lead the change, divided into 2. And I always believe in simplification. As a corporate trainer, we are supposed to use jargons, And you use jargons, people are highly impressed when they come out. Bahut badhiya bola, kya malum kya bola. It makes no sense, to be very honest. I remember I'm invited by most corporates to assess other corporate trainers, being very old, So one lady just said in one corporate training, when you write a letter, what's the word? Salutation, you should. And in the break, one gentleman comes, he says, "Sir," he used to speak Hindi. He says, "Sir, madam पढ़ा रही थी बहुत बढ़िया, लेकिन उन्होंने बोली कि जब लेटर लिखना है salutation, but मैं चिट्ठी लिखते समय salute क्यों करूं?" Now, what is the fault of the trainer? Can you make it? High profile word, dilute तो करो, transaction analysis नहीं था. समझा करो if my student is understanding or not. But no, we need to, I am learned, I need to show that. We don't have to show it, it comes across. So I always speak simply, so breaking the word, sentence, lead and change. So first of all, let's go through what is a leader. Now all these that you will be seeing all are my concepts. Okay, I believe must learn to go beyond self. Now, why we said we are all principals, heads of institutions. In fact, every parent is a leader, every elder brother is a leader, so we are all leaders. But any leader in the truest sense of the term has to go beyond self. I cannot hold it to me. Only cannot afford to live for himself. That is why the leader has to take pains. We have to take pains, and I believe in the corporates when I train, I say there are 3 P's. And in the 3 P's, although the first P is one who gets pain is lucky, becomes matured. One who gets pain early in life is luckier. One who gets kicks below the belt is the luckiest. I got all 3. And then you get matured. That's the first P. Second P is participate, face. Head-on collision. Don't run away from pain. Then the third P happens, then we become powerful. And most of us, you all are not teenagers anymore, must have got such sufficient kicks, and you have already noticed you have matured a lot. Your thinking process has changed, your adjustable capacity has changed. We are no longer petty. Next step, kindly keep on. A leader must take everybody along. Otherwise, it's never going to happen. In the morning, we said, let us have collective responsibility. I believe individual growth is a must, But individual growth is not the end. Collective individual growth is a must. And initiate the initiative of the team members. Every one of us will have some initiative. It's not that somebody has got less. Only they may not be able to speak. Maybe I'm a very dominant boss, so he may not be able to speak. So they will have, let's have that. If I cannot take them, I will have a song, you know. I'm a Bengali. যদি তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে তবে একলা চলো রে একলা চলো একলা চলো একলা চলো একলা চলো রে যদি তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে তবে একলা চলো রে Madam, since you raised your hand, kindly come. I'm not asking you to dance and sing. Sir, you also come with them. Come quickly. They have given me only 20 minutes. They'll ask me to leave the stage. You'll get a slip after. Come. आप भी सर भाग के आओ फिर दौड़ के चले जाना. Just to demonstrate what I mean is taking people around. 2 मिनट के लिए सही स्टेज में फोटो आ जाएगा ना. आप दोनों साइड में खड़े रहो. Now, when I said, अकेला चलो means you know, no, move alone. तो कोई मेरे साथ आ नहीं रहे थे. कितना गया कोई भी उठ के नहीं आया. मेरे को बुलाना पड़ा. फिर भी चलो ये दोनों आ गए. आप मेरा हाथ पकड़ लो. सर आप ये साइड में. My team is made. No. नहीं बना क्योंकि मैंने नहीं पकड़ा. आप पकड़ के रखो उधर ही खड़े रहो छोड़ दूंगा तो. बट आप हाथ पकड़ो. अगर मैं पकड़ा तो मैं आपको ला सकता हूँ. Thank you. This is what I mean is take your people along. Am I with them? Do I sit and eat with them? Do I feel their pain? It's not every day that I have to do. It's important to do it. Okay. We should never have yes men all the time, but as leaders, we love to have sycophants all around. Yes, sir, you are the best. My foot. It should never happen. We should. Why, as leaders, we are frightened to get criticism? Why? To err is human. That's what we are teaching people. But हम खुद गलती करें और उसको कोई बोले तो बहुत बुरी बात है. We need to evolve. A leader has to develop sharp observation skill. Observation is seeing, hearing, smelling, writing. कहाँ क्या चल रहा है? But observation होना चाहिए. सामने क्या है? Not only that. सामने क्या है? पीछे क्या है? Right पे क्या है? Left क्या है? ऊपर क्या है? नीचे क्या है? आते एक झलक कर लीजिए. And देखिए, all of you are making your children play games, you know. Run there, see all the articles kept on the plate, come back and write, right? It's a game in every school. हमको खुद को नहीं आता है. बच्चों को सिखा के रखने का. We need to develop all this. Should understand the difference between target and focus. Earlier, when I was young, target and focus used to be the same, but today it is no longer. Target is okay. I was already told time is up, so I end. I cannot do any more because I was told 20 minutes. No, time is up, so it cannot be done. I think they have a lot more things to do. Thank you.
Sincere apologies to you, sir. I think you have really won hearts here in the audience. All of us have become a big fan. The highest ratings. The session must go on. All right, on record. Thank you so much.
No, actually speaking, I am a stickler to rules. I organize too many conferences internationally, and it's very important, you know, when you show 10 minutes left, 5 minutes left, 2 minutes, and one needs to, because as an organizer, I know what you go through. It's tremendous. You have to accommodate so many people. My paper. Okay, the slide please, very quickly. Now I will do a rush job, okay? We have to be impartial. That means we need to look impartial. अभी आप देखे होंगे मैं आपकी तरफ भी देख रहा हूँ इधर भी देख रहा हूँ खाली आपकी तरफ देखता था उन लोगों बोलता हम भी बैठे हैं. It's important. Important is to be democratically autocratic for all principles. Decision के पहले सबको पूछा करो. Decision आपकी खुद की होनी चाहिए. It's important. Cannot be petty. छोटी मोटी बात को लेकर के आवाज ना करे. And we have to learn to be alone. There's a lot of difference between being lonely and alone. I always love to be alone, but I'm never ever lonely. Okay? And we must have humor, able to laugh at your own self. We must be warm, approachable. You know, I know of somebody who says, telling his subordinates, I'm very approachable. My cabin door is always open. You can always walk in. मैंने मन में बोला तुम खुला मैदान में भी बैठोगे कोई आएगा नहीं. Approachable cannot be with your voice and shouting. The body language has to come, and the leader must be an actor and a genuine one. Rohit Thakur ji kahan gaye? So it's a very important. May I request my colleagues to come? Girish sir, you're coming, please. Very quickly, Mr. Girish Dalvi sir is a corporate man, but he is also the chief administrator of Open Forum for Principals India. Mrs. Nivedita Damle madam is the chief coordinator of Rochiram Thadani School of the Hearing Impaired. And Mrs. Maitri Khedekar is a corporator as well as. Why I have the three of them? Because what they're going to show, most of us think, oh, it's for ladies. Or more, it's for actors. So it's not that. I have something called science of mirror. And I believe a teacher who cannot do nautanki should not become teacher. Drama and teaching goes together. आप मेरे को देख रहे हो ना कितना हिल रहा हूँ. If you may not remember anything else for me, one thing you will remember, Buddha hilta kitna tha. It's a very important thing. The impact has to go on. So, one, this is, science of mirror is you look at yourself. Like all of you smile, all of you get angry, all of you cry, but you don't know how you look. Everybody else looks. And when you give your leave application to your boss, उनका चेहरा देख के leave application जाता है. Boss का चेहरा गंभीर है तो आज नहीं देने का, बाद में देने का. So please discover yourself. Okay? So they are holding the mirror in front. Then when you look at the right from the angle and left at the angle, we start out. 1, 2, 3, smile. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Close. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Angry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Sorrow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Fear. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Love. Prem. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Greed. Lobe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Laughter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Thank you so much. Kindly look into it because most of us are married for a long, long time. So आपका love उड़ गया होगा. तो एक बार देख लेना when you're talking to your spouse थोड़ा सा reflect करे, है ना? तो खा लो, ऐसा नहीं खा लो. Okay? So we are going to skip the next, Giri sir. I'll go to the change part of it, right? Okay. The key competency indicators are the adapting to change, and the second, the learning abilities, physical, mental, and emotional. I'm concentrating on general market awareness, what is GMQ. GMQ is not dividend and shares. Are we aware as to what is happening around social changes, economic changes, industrial changes, technical changes, religious changes, language changes, government changes, all changes that are taking place, we need to be updated. How do you know, how many of you know what is 8th and 9th standard girls and boys say WIP? You know what it is? What is WIP? Work in progress. And you know, after that, they said we are committed. After that, they are engaged. After that, they are married. हमारे टाइम पे तो सवाल नहीं था शादी. So we need to know the lingo. Or how many of you know what is HDFC? 4th standard girls and boys are talking about HDFC. I asked, I said, what is it? She told this boy is HDFC. Half dumb, full crack. Understand, our children speak in abbreviations. We are outdated. Not me at the age of 76, I'm in. But you are out. Because you have to be with them. Their psyche, their feeling. What are they going through? But unfortunately, we are learned. We don't need to. Then we cannot impart education. If we have to impart education, we have to move with them. And ownership and accountability, role modeling, and we are all role models. We are also influencing people. We also have influences, and we also have certain role models. The next slide, almost ending now, the how to do approach is empowering. We have to have a foresight visual and planning and consolidating progress. That is the assessment. I'm not talking of the result assessment, but the assessment of self-assessment is very, very important, okay? And what are the requirements? I think the ensuring quality, these are very subjective for the principals to underestimate the need for support. We normally think, now I don't need help, we need constant at every step. Hurdles should not be taken as hurdles. What should be they taken as? Challenges. Life is full of challenges. We must get challenges. New and shared vision, and nothing succeeds like success. So therefore, the basic skills that are required are communication, observation, appreciation, and understanding. You know, when I say love, the definition of love, everybody will say kuchi kuchi ya kuch kuch hota hai. To me, it is mutual respect plus mutual understanding between spouse, between parents and children, between teacher and student, between friends, among everybody. If I'm not respecting that person, so we need to respect the child, cannot humiliate the child. खाली सीधा सा एंड करता हूँ इसमें, जहाँ पर आपके लास्ट में होता है, you will notice, you shout at your child घर पे, डांटो, लेकिन आप किसी के सामने डांटा ना, तो बच्चा बोलेगा मम्मी मम्मी तुमने डांटा ठीक है, सबके सामने क्यों डांटा, क्यों मेरा कोई इज्जत नहीं है क्या? It's a very important thing. From there we have to learn that we need to respect the child, and that respect will not come by hugging alone. It will come through the words. That is why communication is so important. How do I communicate? What do I communicate? And do I communicate positively? That's all here. So most important thing that I would like all the principals to be. NEP says make everything happy, enjoyable. So for the first thing, therefore, we need to be happy. So अगर चाहिए तो थोड़ा डांस करिए, म्यूजिक करिए, जो भी करिए करिए. Thank you so much.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think we are falling short of claps after attending Tushar sir's session. Deserves a big, big round of applause for keeping us engaged. A gifted speaker, somebody who can add information and humor together. I think there are very few people who can deliver speech, with such an excellence. Sir, we are blessed. Thank you so much for being present today. Well, now I request Mr. Nirdosh Mathur, Academia patron from First in Maths, to felicitate Dr. Tushar Gua, eminent psychologist, educationist, and corporate trainer. So, ladies and gentlemen, please hear us. Round of applause for Mr. Tushar Gua. Let me introduce to our next speaker, that's Dr. Milind Naik, Principal Janana Prabodhini Prashala. So today, Dr. Milind Naik will address on the topic, neither order nor vote consult. I request the AV team to play the introduction of Dr. Milind Naik.
Dr. Milind Naik, a principal of Gyan Prabodhini Prashala, Pune. Dr. Milind has done PhD in development of leadership qualities in gifted adolescent students, M.Ed in teacher education. He is the member of Maharashtra State Steering Committee for Implementation of National Education Policy 2020. His presentation on School for Gifted in front of Rajya Sabha Parliamentary Standing Committee in October 2021. Presentation on Special School for Gifted with a Purpose for HRD Minister and Education Minister, Maharashtra, was commendable. Dr. Milind Naik, a distinguished leader in the field of education, an active participant in shaping educational policies, exhibits a multifaceted commitment to innovation and holistic development.
Please note there's an announcement. The entries are being served. So please ensure that you keep moving in rotations as you are attending the session, absorbing a lot of information. I'm sure we also need to absorb a lot of calories to be present and to attend the session. So please make yourselves comfortable. If anyone who's missed on the lunch, to make yourselves comfortable for the lunch. Thank you so much. So we move to the next speaker. So let me invite Dr. Milind Naik, to address the conference.
So I thank all the organizers for having me. Yeah. All of us know that we are in crisis of two things. First, we are not having good teachers, competent teachers, and still we are thinking about implementing various changes expected by the national education policy, and also that we oneself are expecting as dreams. And the second thing that we are facing is it has become a little bit more difficult to build a team, isn't it? Because the value system is changing, and as a leader, while functioning as a leader, it has become a little bit more difficult to build a team. But without which, we will not be able to fulfill our dreams and convert whatever we are saying into a reality. And so, let's change our style of leadership, and that might be one of the solutions for all these crises. Let's first see what's the leadership. There is a law from the physics that everybody tends to remain in a state of rest unless otherwise it is acted upon by some external unbalanced force, right? This is the Newton's first law, right? You remember. And so, that is what is called as inertia. And everybody loves that. Our mind loves inertia. We don't want to get changed. And that is what is the first hurdle. And the second one is, everybody loves stability. So they want to lose their energy and become stable. So, tending towards the stability and having inertia are the two big hurdles in the change-making processes. Then what is the leadership? Leadership is nothing but breaking these rules. You want to change it. You want to break the inertia and make the new things happen. And so, the intervention of a leader is required to change the direction and the pace in order to happen whatever we are required. So, no institution is a steady one. It's not at halt, but it is moving. But though outwardly it is, we see that it is moving, internally there are lots of forces working and they counterbalance each other. So I call this as quasi-stationary equilibrium. Externally it looks stationary, but internally lots of things are happening. So there are dynamic balances of forces. One is the driving force, the other one we will call it as restraining forces. And as both the forces are there, this institution is running, but it is at equilibrium as well. Now, there are styles of leadership. We have gone through these things. I think we have been trained for all these things. So I will take very less amount of time on this slide. What is autocracy? The leader is at the center, and the whole things move around the leader, and whatever capacities of leader are there, they get converted into the reality. You instruct, The leader instructs the followers and followers follow and just execute. They don't use their own brain. Of course, all forces are aligned forcefully, not voluntarily. And so, such kind of leadership is not bad at all. It is not that it is always bad. It is required in cases of emergency situations, in some kind of organizations like military and doctors or the medical health systems. There the leader uses his own brain and takes the decision and don't go for the consultation with anybody else. Otherwise, the patient will be dead or he himself will become dead. So when there are emergencies, autocratic leadership is always better way. Now we are in a democratic society, so we think that we are democratic leader. A democratic leader seeks vote and manages that he will get the majority and not the consensus. He seeks vote, and so as no consensus is not tried, majority is the aim. The followers get divided into two, supporters and opponents. There is a group of supporter and there is a group of opponent. And there is no interaction between the members, so the leadership gets challenged in the further moves. However, we are saying that we are practicing democratic way of leadership in our country. Now, I propose third way of leadership, that is consultative type of leadership. Here, leader discusses the problem, goals, execution, strategies, everything with his colleagues and seeks their opinions. Vision sharing is there, and it is always done as active process. However, though all these things happen with the members, the ultimate liability, the ultimate decisions ownership lies with the leader himself. And so, unlike democracy, democratic leader, the ownership ownership lies with the somebody's. Otherwise, in democratic style of leadership, it may happen that it is nobody's leadership or nobody's ownership of the results. Now, this type of consultative type of leadership is not the only style of decision making, or it is not only the decision making process, but it is much beyond it. See here, it is expected that everybody contributes in the decision making, goal setting, and execution type of processes. And the leader tries to have a consensus over the decision. Here, everybody's vision sharing happens and the collective vision is built up. And hence, it is not only the decision-making process, but it becomes a team-building exercise. And not only that, it becomes a regenerative process. When you are discussing all these things with your team members, they start learning with you, and someday may come when the members can replace you as a leader. And so it becomes a regenerative process as well. So this is much beyond decision-making process. Now we need change. We want change. We want to implement various things said in the national education policy. And as they are said so, or otherwise we want to have changes just to have effective working in our institute. We want to grow. We want to get adapted to the new environment. And of course, we want to sustain as well in the changing environment. We want to sustain for a long time. And so you have to get adapted and you have to change yourself and your institute as well. Now, as I said earlier, any institute is nothing but a quasi-state or equilibrium. So there are driving forces and there are restraining forces as well. In any institute, both the forces act at the same time. So if you want to make any change in your institute, either you have to increase the driving force, or you have to decrease the restraining force, or you have to do both the things. So both the things are welcomed, right? But if you use consultation type of leadership style, then you have half done. You have almost done with the change. This is because when you increase the driving, when you use the consultative way of leadership, motivation is already built up because all the members start feeling that we all are in the same boat. The same vision is shared, and so they don't feel that it is forced on the members. They know logically the reason behind the change, and so they participate with their wish. Doubts get cleared, and so no gossiping after the meetings, right? And so that is what is required. No? Clarity is very much required if somebody wants to get changed. That reduces the uncertainty in the change, due to change, and the members get time to get adapted to the new change. And because of all these things, resistance to change decrease. Resistance to change decrease, and that is what is our requirement. But while doing this, don't ignore the resistances. The resistances also have some values. This means that if there is some resistance to the change, that means we as a leader, we are not implemented it neatly, completely, exactly what is expected. Some more clarification is required by the members. Some more communication with the members is expected. Or we may not have observed the consequences of the changes carefully or detected early during the planning. And so there is some inadequacy of problem-solving process. So let's accept whatever suggestions are given by the team members and proceed. And hence, this consultative way of style is not only a decision-making process, but it's a team-building process. It is a change-making process, and it has path of least resistance. So if you want to make any change in your institute, and if you want to have a path of least resistance, vision sharing, building collective wisdom, inclusion of all the members, and team building is very much required, which happens in the consultative way of leadership. Now remember that I am saying that it is consultation to the leader, not by the leader to the team members. I repeat, it is consultation to the leader by the members, so that your decision becomes enriched one, correct one, better one. Everybody's perspective has to be considered, and hence it is consultation to the leader by the members. There is other way of leadership where the leader consults the member to get his task fulfilled. But I'm not talking about that. But it's not so easy. Outwardly, it may look that it is very easy. I'm saying that just have a discussion with your members and it will be fulfilled. It's not so easy. Both the leader and contributors must get trained for that. Training is much more important in this case. leader should be able to create the ambience, free environment, so that everybody will contribute. And it's not so easy. His communication skills matter, and he has to see that everybody will contribute. And though you have created good ambience, very free ambience, so that everybody should contribute, not all will contribute. You have to train your participant members for their positive contribution, and you must ask them to contribute irrespective of his or her position. So why I am suggesting the consultative way of leadership among our educational institutes? See, though we are a democratic country, I don't think, this is my personal opinion, you may deny, we are not ready for true democracy. When you vote, voters should be very well informed one. He should be an independent thinker, he should be expert in the field and aware of the situation around. But in many cases, this is not the case. Voters are not that much learned. And when he casts vote without the required information or without the thinking process behind that, it may go wrong. And so Indian culture is far away from it, still that. Today also we are far away from it because we have a habit of autocracy. We were ruled by emperors, and so we have a habit that if some leader comes ahead or somebody takes the initiative, all start obeying his orders and accepting his opinions without giving any thinking to that. So it's always better that moving to democratic process via consultative way of leadership will be the better way. That's what I suggest. What the research has shown, when the survey was conducted among the principals of secondary schools, school leaders reported how these school leaders are working, and this 7% said that they are working in democratic way, 36% said that the school leaders are authoritarian, and 57% said that they are consultative type. And school leaders themselves reported that 11% are democratic, 5% authoritarian, and 84% considered themselves as consultative leaders. So they are expecting that we should be consultative type of leader, but the reality is not like that. Finally, let's lead the change by changing our leadership style to the consultative way of leadership. And I belong to an institute called as Jnana Prabodhini, which is started in 1962. And we work in almost all developmental fields, in rural areas, in research work, we have hospitals. So while running that organization, we are using this type of consultative type of leadership everywhere, in the rural areas with health workers, volunteers, in the research institutes with the researchers, in the hospitals with the doctors, and of course with all the educators at our schools. We find that it is very, very effective, and this keeps the environment charged, moving, and very creative, because everybody is participating in the change, and nobody is left alone or out of the system. So, finally, I would say that instead of leading followers, let's lead the leaders, and that will bring out the change. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Please remain on the stage. Thank you, sir, for such an enriching session. I request Mr. Nirdosh Mathur, Academia Patron, First and Mat, to felicitate Dr. Milind Naik. Please give a huge round of applause for a wonderful session. Our next speaker is Mrs. Manjushri Patil, Founder, Director, Atman Academy and Country Director, Think Equal. Today, Mrs. Manjushri Patil will address on the topic, Inclusive Leadership. I request the AV team to play the introduction of Mrs. Manjushri Patil.
A specialized Dr. Manjushri Patil, a champion in inclusive education and music. Dr. Manjushri Patil is a founder director of Atman Academy, following a specialized instruction inclusive learning program, recognized by Divyang Ayuktalay for children with diverse learning need. The school has been certified as a great place to work by GPTW. She is a two-time TEDx speaker and performer, recipient of the ADA Act Anniversary Fellowship and Acumen India Fellowship. She has received Fulbright Distinguished Awards, International Fellow in year 2021-22 and her fellowship at Indiana University of Pennsylvania. She is greatly inspiring and impacting the arena of inclusive education and music.
A very, very good afternoon to all of you, and thank you so much for being back. Many of you are grabbing lunch, I know. Thank you so much, and I'd love to see this whole audience. Could you give me a nice smile, please? Trupti wali smile. Khana ho gaya. But let me start. So, I was supposed to do this session, if you can please understand, I was supposed to do the session at 12:20, which was supposed to be pre-lunch. And I was kind of expecting that you'd be pretty hungry, which is okay. Let's just read this as dinner, okay? So I invite 6 of you to cordially come for dinner, which I have now arranged. So can I have 6 volunteers, please? And if you could make that fast. Let's have somebody from the back as well. Acha, no, come. You're my esteemed friends. 6 of you. आइए, पधारिए मेरे घर. बहनों, भाइयों, मैंने 6 लोगों के लिए खाना बनाया है. यहीं पे रहिए. 6 लोग. अरे बाप रे. आइए बैठिए. आप मेरा क्लिकर दे देंगे प्लीज. क्लिकर दे देंगे मुझे. आइए ना. नमस्ते. बहुत अच्छा लगा आपको. थैंक यू फॉर कमिंग. अच्छा, मैंने खुद खाना पकाया है. नहीं, आप रहिए जहाँ है, वहीं पे रह जाइए. देखिए, आपको मैं अभी नेक्स्ट कमिंग अप इज द मेनू. मैंने इतना स्लॉक करके आपके लिए खाना बनाया. देखा है आपको? देखा कितनी थक गई हूँ मैं. बस ऐसे हो गया है मुझे बिल्कुल. इतना खाना बनाया, 3 बुलाए, 13 आए, दे दाल में पानी. आई एम स्लीपिंग इनटू स्लीप, बट आई जस्ट फीड यू एंड देन गेट इनटू स्लीप. Okay, so here's the menu for today's meal. And before we do the menu, I have some cards that I want each of you to just take and not yet show the audience. Keep it to yourself. Here. Okay. No worries. You're my best friend. You don't have a card. Okay. So here's the hard work that I've put together. And I invite all of you for lunch, and here's my menu. Here's the menu for today's lunch. I'd like all of you to see the menu, see your card, and give me a quick 10-second feedback. Look at your card, look at the menu, and then tell me what's going to be your take from today's menu. Yeah, you're happy to see, but look at what you are. Yeah. So you're.
Half of this. We can't eat half of this food.
Why? Tell everybody why. All right. Because both of them are diabetic. Ah, what a bummer. What about you, sir?
Vegan. Vegan. Jain's food. Jain's food. Cut salad.
अच्छा, माइंड यू इन लोगों को मैंने इनविटेशन दे के बाकायदा बुलाया है, पर मेरे ये भाई साहब क्या खा के जाएंगे? कट सैलेड। ये तो कह रहे हैं they will not be able to eat anything at all. Ma'am, what will you be able to eat? She's looking, okay, she's like a mint. क्या बात है? You're the blessed ones. You're allergic only to nuts. अच्छा जी, पर इसमें तो मैंने काजू डाले हैं। अच्छा, you, she's still gonna have, she's just gonna pull out those cashew nuts out. चल जाएगा? I'm glad, नहीं तो बहुत लोग होते हैं flare up हो जाते हैं. But she wants to have, दम है उनके अंदर. Okay, आप मैम? आप क्या हैं? आप बताइए सबको. She's fasting. I don't have anything here. No sabudana khichdi, no vada, no nothing. Okay, what about you? Anyone else here? Yes, sir, what about you? You can eat everything, but everything has onions and garlic and this and that. मैंने तो सब में डाला है भाई. Ayo, look at his face. He's saying, ah. What? One of my friend has a genuine question. What kind of a Jain are you? It's a genuine question. All right. समझदार हो आप. अच्छा, आप वेजिटेरियन हो, ओके? You will get मटन बिरयानी छोड़ के ये दोनों जो है ना, ये भरपेट खा के मेरे घर से जाएंगे. बाकियों के बारे में I don't care. मैंने जो बनाना था तो मैंने तो बना लिया. अब देख लो, आप अपना अपना देख लो. I really don't care. अच्छा, और एक बात आपको समझ में आ रही है? Can anyone tell me what is the other very खटकने वाली बात? Sorry? Offering choices, okay. What else? What is the blaring thing that you can see over here? Thank you so much, my dear friends. You're all awake at the back. Thank you. I'm just kidding. Yeah, only 2 chairs. No chairs for your friends. 6, 7, अच्छा 2 लोग ज़्यादा आए, ठीक है. But what about the fact that I am sitting? I have one very खास friend of mine sitting. बाकी खड़े रहो, खड़े रहो, क्या फर्क पड़ता है? Thank you, friends. समझदारों को इशारा काफी है. Actually, my entire presentation is done here. And you'd like to tell me? No, wait, you don't go, please. My friends, don't go. Don't go. I want you to tell me what just happened here. Yeah, I mean the food just got snatched out of your mouth, or rather it didn't even go into your mouth, some of you. I also want you to tell me, how are our guests feeling? I'd like to ask them.
You don't know us. You don't know us. So you invited us without knowing what works for us.
Exactly. And also, if I can add another addition to that statement, did I even care to know you? I just cared about me and my fancy cooking, and I brought it because I can make dum biryani very well, and I can make nut ice cream very well, and I can do all of this very well. I put it all in place. I didn't care whether my friends can eat it, not eat it. How are you feeling right now? Rejected. She's saying hungry. Itna khana dekhe. How are you feeling right now? She got more to eat, okay? So she's not feeling all that bad, mind you. Okay. How about... You're anyways fasting. So you were already given up on the fact that you would not get anything to eat. I'm feeling excluded. How long will you check my patience, she's saying. Thank you so much, my dear friends. Thank you for playing this little game with me. Thank you so much. Please take your seats. Why are they feeling this way? Why are my friends feeling this way at this party? Because I didn't cater to their needs. And let me tell you, I invited them, cordially sent them an invitation and invited them. The answer is really simple here, because they felt completely excluded. One of the friends, in fact, answered that, from the lunch party, in spite of the fact that they were invited for that lunch party. A very, very similar thing to what happens in our workplaces. I'll be drawing that analogy very soon. This may not happen in real life. You may not do this. It's far-fetched, it's really overstretched. But unconsciously, it might just be happening in our workplace and our work environments. And why? Why is it happening? Why is it happening? Yes, ma'am? Awesome. She's talking about being inclusive, and she's also spoken about equity and equality. Excellent. You brought out the key word. Obviously, I'm speaking on inclusive leadership, and you've really brought out a key word. Oftentimes, we turn a blind eye towards inclusive practices that need to be in place in our roles. Now, what is inclusion? I don't need to really get into every detail, but one of the details I really like is the second one, and it says paying attention to the small stuff. You know, paying attention to the small stuff even means asking your colleague, it means asking your colleagues, what happened? Did your maid come back? Is all okay? Or how's that, the little boil on your son's toe, he was crying last night, you told me. The small stuff that really makes them feel so tremendously inclusive in the space that they are working. Being genuinely interested is what also really matters. And engaging with the community that you're with. That really is what inclusion is. And so what I want to really add here is, inclusion is a set of habits for all of us. It is a habitual thing. As a trainer with the government of Maharashtra on inclusive education, I had traveled across the length and breadth of Maharashtra. We conducted almost 32 days of training for master trainers. And one of the things I used to repeat in every session is that inclusion is not about what we do alone. What we do matters, yes, but inclusion is about who I am, who we are, who I am as a person, as a human being. And that's the key to really being inclusive. Before proceeding to inclusive leadership, however, let's just pause for a moment and reflect on these two words. And why this is important is, a couple of years ago, I was in a fellowship, the Acumen Fellowship, and we had an amazing eye-opening training program by the Harvard Leadership School. There was this very senior gentleman who, he just, दिमाग की बत्ती जला देना कहते हैं ना. From then on, आज 2014 से लेके आज तक, इन दो words को मैं बहुत संभाल के use करती हूँ, और ये दो words हैं leader and leadership. ये दो words हैं. Question to you. Are they synonymous? And my answer is, well, yes, but not really. Well, yes, but not really. And the reason I'll tell you is this. A leader is a person who has a strong identity with the role. Director, principal, VP, ye, wo, sab kuch. However, nothing wrong in being a leader. Please don't get me wrong. I'm not saying these are either or, one is bad or one is good. No, none of that is coming from my conversation here. I'm just trying to say a leader's identity with the role is higher and stronger. जिनको जो समझना है वो समझ ही जाएंगे. Leadership is an act of pursuing a goal. So leader is about being in a role, and leadership is an act of pursuing a goal. This was such a liberating statement for me when I learned it those many years ago. I said, oh my God, this is very different, one from the other. A leader A leader is an individual who is perceived by group members as having a legitimate position of power so as to impact the group. This individual could either be assigned as a leader, be delegated to the position, or could emerge from a group formally or informally, which could be the way many of you have emerged in your leadership roles. Leadership, I want you also, see, leadership is a matter of action, not position. Do you see that little asterisk? I discovered this when I was doing a session on leadership at the Sahodaya, Pune a couple of weeks ago. I said, it sounds so much like lead a ship. And in that, the verb is the strongest element. Lead a ship. Leadership. So leadership is a matter of action, not a position. Leadership can be defined as the process of influencing, not impacting. Dekhiye, the word is very different. Influencing a group to help it to reach its goal. And this was the most beautiful thing I came across in one of the books that I read. This involves the task dimension, or what needs to be done, and the social dimension. So what needs to be done and the people element. And that's the reason why I really go by what Sadhguru is saying nowadays, lately. He says, humans are not a resource. Humans are a potential. So my head of HP is with me here today, and we call her the head of human potential, not human resource, because there's tremendous potential in the people who are in our teams. Coming finally to inclusive leadership, it's defined as the capacity to manage and lead a heterogeneous group of people efficiently while respecting their uniqueness in an empathetic, bias-free way. So important, so difficult. Bias-free. हो जाता है. आते जाते हो जाता है. ये साड़ी नहीं पहनती टीचर. Bias. ये sleeveless पहनती है. Bias. पटक से अपने मन में biases आ जाते हैं. उनको बाजू में रखना और अपने टीम को लीड करना is about what inclusive leadership is, and that's where we come to the consciousness and the awareness. Inclusive leadership, it's an authentic style of leadership. Love the word authentic. It rules out discrimination, bias, and favor based on color, race, religion, socio-economic background, abilities, and other protected characters, and allows employees to feel valued for their own input. And I must thank the speakers before me because they helped me segue into this concept, because they spoke everything that I'm talking over here. They've made the ground very easy for me. So I'm not going to dwell much on this, but it is true that we can become an inclusive leader when we take all of this into consideration and we actually follow it as a, what's the word? As a leadership, inclusive leadership is a, thank you so much. Can we make it a little louder? Habit. Let's say it loud and clear. Habit. Inclusive leadership is a habit. It's a continuous commitment to ensuring that all team members are treated equally and equitably, exactly what ma'am shared here, feel a sense of belonging, they are valued and respected for their diversities and uniqueness, have the resources and support they need to achieve full potential. And once again, I mean, I'm biased, right? I keep having this one favorite point on every slide. Yeah, I know that. Mine is really the favorite. They have a choice and a voice in the team. To have a choice and a voice in your team is the best example of being in a leadership role that is inclusive. Research has shown that teams operate in an inclusive culture. They outperform their peers by a staggering 80%. This is data that is jaw-dropping. So it's time for us to pull up our socks and get into the inclusive leadership mode. And as I come towards the conclusion of my session here, I'm going to talk about two sets of ABCs of inclusive leadership. A, awareness. Are you aware of conscious and unconscious biases that you had or have towards others? I'm sure you have heard about unconscious biases. If not, maybe next time we meet, we can have a conversation on that. I'd love to, because that's something that really opens up the way we handle teams when we are aware of our own unconscious biases. Belief. Do you wholeheartedly believe everyone is created equally? Aha, of course, of course. Come on. It goes without saying, of course. No question about it. And yet, there are things that happen in school. I don't want to even mention them, but they happen in school on an everyday basis that makes a certain set of people feel that they're not equal to you. And that's worth thinking through. Curiosity. Are you open to unlearning and relearning from others? Or are you in a leader role where you are saying, ki, nah, I know. I like what Sir said. Autocratic, no, democratic. Sorry, democratically autocrat. Yeah, I like that. Democratically autocrat. See, sometimes I agree. The vision that you can see, others can't see. It's like this. I'm standing here. I'm in a leadership role. What I can see from here, you can't see from there. I agree with that. Having said that, are we at least democratic where we are able to listen to other people's voices, give them that space, give them that sound platform, and then take it further? And the last 3 ABCs. Action. Are your behaviors and actions towards others aligned with your belief in equality? Where was the equality when I called my friends for lunch or dinner, whatever it was that I served them here? No equality. I didn't give any equal treatment to anybody in my group here. Boldness. Are you honest with others about your shortcomings or your misconceptions? हम कहते हैं पर थोड़ा रिजर्व टाइप के होते हैं. तुरंत से सबके सामने नहीं बोल दें, अरे यार, I goofed up. I know I made this mistake. How often can I do it? If you're in a leadership role, you might start doing it. If you are identified with your role because, you know, I am the principal in this school, I'm not supposed to make any mistakes, and if I make them, I'm not going to tell anybody about it. Then, gayi bhains pani mein. Okay, so we need to be bold enough and honest enough to say, I goofed up, I made a mistake, and I'm wrong. Do you consistently hold yourself and others accountable for the culture of inclusion? Very, very important. Inclusion is a culture. Inclusion is like the chasni in which we dip our gulab jamun. If that chasni is sweet enough, the gulab jamun will take up all that rus. If that chasni is picky, then nahi hoga. और अब अगर उस चाशनी में सारे गुलाब जामुनों ने डुबकी मारी ना, तो सारे गुलाब जामुन मीठे ही हो जाएंगे. उनको कुछ और होने की गुंजाइश ही नहीं है. लेकिन उसमें से 4 लोगों को अगर आपने बाहर रख दिया, तो they will not be towing the line of inclusion and inclusive practices in your school. Think that through. आपकी चाशनी मीठी होनी चाहिए और आपकी चाशनी सबके लिए available होनी चाहिए. Finally, benefits. I'm not going to get into these. I know you will experience them if you just start this journey yourself. Beautiful ones. And one of my favorites again here is the sense of belonging, sense of ownership that schools can give to their stakeholders, to their beneficiaries, once they make the space more and more inclusive. Inclusive workplaces only exist when people make a sustained effort to learn about and maintain a culture of inclusion. I see I have 7 seconds, so I cannot, I'm sorry, show you this video, but I'll be happy to share it with you, with the group, wherever we are connected. Let me just move ahead. As part of, yes, time's up. Give me 2 more minutes. As part of walking the talk that we believe in. So, in 2017, I was awarded a fellowship by the US State Department of Education, and that was called the Americans with Disabilities Act Anniversary Fellowship on Inclusive Education. And that was an eye-opener because I saw facets and elements of inclusion in the US that I saw that we were still coming around. It was still happening for us. And based on that, I came back and I floated a very unique, one-of-its-kind course on inclusive education, which is now in its 7th year, which is an association with the University of Minnesota. It's for teachers, educators, principals, heads of schools, and the intention really is to develop inclusive practices in the class and make everybody, I've been saying I'm a special educator, so we talk about IEPs, that is individualized educational plans. My tagline for the child course, which is Certificate in Holistic Inclusion of Learners with Diversities, is to move the paradigm from IEPs to IPs, which means from individualized educational plans to inclusive educational practitioners, which is all of you and all of us. Every teacher can become an inclusive education practitioner if she is coached and she is given the right kind of inputs for it. So that's that. And of course, what you're seeing on the right-hand side, I think you have both of these in your goodie bags as well. What you're seeing on the right-hand side is what was my research project for my in Fulbright, which I came back from last year. And it's called Inclusive Leadership Embraces All Diversities, and that's I Lead, and that is for everyone in your school, from the peon to the maushis to the management to the principal to everybody, to be included in just a short 10-week program, one session per week program. Would love to tell you more about it. You can touch base with us for more about it. But this one is particularly for the culture of inclusion. Yes, done. Thank you. In conclusion, let the journey of exploring your inclusive leadership talent begin today. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much for being such a wonderful audience.
Well, thank you so much, ma'am. I think it was a very engaging session. We also extend thank you to all the members or the volunteers who accepted the invitation for the virtual lunch on the stage. Thank you so much for being so active and being the part of the presentation. Now I request Mrs. Nandita Khanna, Joint Secretary, Mumbai, Sahodaya, to felicitate Mrs. Manjushri Patil, Founder Director, Atman Academy, and Country Director, Think Equal. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a huge round of applause for Mrs. Manjushri Patil. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for being present and conducting such an engaging session.